All right, so we go to the next recipe. Just I would like to introduce the shape also. And this is one of the new shape, interesting shape, from the Mal. Rings. Okay, so few ways to utilize it. You can use it as an insert. When you cut the cake, you have a very nice, cutting, very nice insert. Or you can also make a cake upside down. So this will be actually the top of the cake. Okay. I will place a ring lined with acetate, and I will build the cake upside down. So in this cake we have a cheese mousse and a strawberry coulis. Now, strawberry coulis, of course, we made it ahead, because it has time, to freeze. So what's recommended when you make a strawberry jelly or any fruit jelly is to take 1/3 of the puree, to add the sugar and the softened gelatin to it. And then to add the other 2/3. Why we do this process and we don't heat up the whole thing? When you heat up the whole thing, you will lose the color and you will lose the taste. Okay, so if you want to keep the color and the taste of the puree, you only heat up a part of it, melt the gelatin with it, melt the sugar, and then you add the other 2/3. Okay, first it will cool down, of course, quicker. No skin, on the top, since it's cold, and you won't lose the color and the taste. Okay. Strawberry puree, few points, maybe, Jérôme can talk to you about, a little bit more about the Boiron puree. It comes from Poland.
Yeah, the variety is a Senga. But I would like to ask you, what makes the difference between Boiron and the other puree? Except that we do the purees for years, but according to you.
100% fruit?
Part of the flavors have 100% fruit, yeah. Especially the mango. We'll talk about the mango later.
Really cool container. A really cool container.
Yeah, the container is great, yeah. And all the people have told me it's like a gold, what do you say mango in English?
Gold bar.
Gold bar, yeah. If you turn it, it's like a gold bar.
And let's still lose gold bar.
But what explains that you don't have surprise with consistency? So what makes the consistency? What is very important for all pastries? Flavor, yes, yeah. Origin, variety.
The salt they call it, you get original.
Yeah, the original variety is very, very important. As Eric said, the strawberry comes from Poland, and the variety is the Senga Sengana. We don't use Camarosa or whatever, only Senga Sengana. And of course, what makes the difference is the consistency. You know that Boiron is at this level, and it's always at this level. And what makes the consistency is the bricks. You all know what is bricks? It's a natural sugar plus added sugar. We at Boiron, we certify that the bricks is plus or minus 1. If you use other puree, ask for specifications, most of them is plus or minus 2.5. It's why the quality is like that. Because when you use our charts, you have the charts in the back, you can follow the instructions, and you will get always the same result at this high level quality. The bricks is very important. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I softened the cream cheese. And I will slowly incorporate the sour cream. First half. Okay, I softened also the gelatin, right? This you all know, gelatin, most likely 90% come from pork, but also there is beef gelatin as well. Now it becomes also more and more popular to use the powder gelatin. these days. Why? Because powdered gelatin, you can have exactly the same amount of water right at the beginning you want. What's important in the gelatin is it has to absorb 5 to 6 times its own weight in water. In another word, it has to let it soak in the water a long time. If you don't, what will happen, it will still absorbing the water, but from the cake. Then that's why the cake will start shrinking a little bit. Huh? So this is why, gelatin powder is becoming also quite more popular, because right at the beginning you can calculate, the amount of water you need. Huh? So another recommendation, if you use the sheets, is to let it, in ice bucket water the day before, and then you scale, the gelatin you need, but that will be 5 to 6 times, its own weight. Okay? Because if you don't let it soak enough, guarantee the cake the next day will shrink. Okay? I think was created in sheets because before was no digital scale. So simple. Yeah. Okay, and we make it quite hot. We don't boil the gelatin, but we make it quite hot. Okay. Then I start adding the pata bomb. Pata bomb, what we did, there's a couple ways, few ways to make a pata bomb. But it's always important to use, if you can, pasteurized yolks. Huh? Why is that? Because, in some cases, what many recipes will call for pata bomb, which actually you cook the sugar, you pour it on the yolks. But if I take the temperature after pouring into the yolks, it's only, it's 55 to 60, which is not the pasteurization, temperature. Okay? So despite the fact my sugar is at 120, it will not pasteurize the yolks. This is why it is recommended to use either pasteurized yolks or you cook it as a sabayon. Okay. I do not add the gelatin right now. I wait until the last minute. And the rest of the pata bomb. Oh, laisse-moi ça par là. Voilà. Then before adding the gelatin, I check. I check the temperature, make sure it's warm enough. If it's not warm enough, I will have to bring it back to the microwave. And I add the gelatin. And then finally the whipping cream. Okay. Whipping cream, always soft pick. Don't whip up. It's a mistake to believe, the more we actually whip it up, the lighter the cake will be. It's the other way around. The more you whip it up, the heavier it might get, and the more fatty it might taste to the palate. Okay, so always quite soft. Half of it to the mixture. And back to the pot. When you want to mold this type of molds with a lot of design on it, it is important, to always have the mousses, quite soft. The mousses, too hard, actually will not take all the design of the mold. And this is why, most of the mousses when we're using the mold, we make them quite soft.